Emily betrayed her fiancé, who decided to take revenge in a way she would never forget. The couple met unexpectedly at a cozy coffee shop in Seattle. That evening, Michael was relaxing at a table, savoring his coffee and the ambient tunes, while Emily was chatting with her friends at another table. At one point, both stood up nearly at the same time to go to the restroom. The path to the restroom was narrow, and as Michael walked absent-mindedly, he accidentally bumped into Emily, causing her belongings to scatter on the floor. Michael quickly bent down to help her, apologizing. "Sorry about that," he said, clearly embarrassed. Emily, with a forgiving smile, replied, "It's all right, it happens. Maybe we should watch where we're going more carefully." They laughed together and struck up a conversation right there in the hallway leading to the restroom. From that unexpected encounter, they exchanged phone numbers and began to see each other. Michael, 28, had recently been promoted to a senior software engineer at a tech firm. Emily, 26, worked as a graphic designer at a creative agency in Seattle. They spent a lot of time together whenever Michael was not traveling for work, and they seemed very happy. He would bring her gifts from the places he visited due to his work, and always invited her to dinner. Things were going so well that in just 3 months, they decided to move in together. This naturally worried Michael's friends, as the relationship seemed to be moving very quickly, which was unlike him. But Michael and Emily were so in love that there was no reason to expect anything bad. They were so happy together that it felt like the right time to take the next step. Since Michael already had his own apartment and Emily still lived with her mother, the move made sense. Although slightly apprehensive, Emily agreed. After all, it's important to note that Michael spent days and even weeks traveling for work. Thus, living together would actually mean that Emily would move to a place where she would be alone most of the time. However, she would be more comfortable and at ease knowing she would soon see him again. Michael handed Emily his credit card, suggesting she use it for any needs related to their new home or even for her meals. He regretted not being able to be present to assist with all the details of the move, but wanted to ensure she had no financial worries during this period. Emily, who had recently lost her job as a graphic designer, thanked him and promised to organize everything. Michael's gesture was not just an act of generosity, but a clear demonstration of his deep trust and love for her. Michael could hardly imagine that soon the love and trust he had built would be shattered by an unexpected discovery. One reason Michael had managed to buy his own apartment at such a young age was his meticulous financial management skills. He was a master of personal finance, always keeping a close eye on his expenses and investments. Over the years, Michael had developed the habit of regularly reviewing his bank statements, ensuring every cent was well spent. Without major expenses or family responsibilities, he had managed to save a significant amount. However, it was this attention to detail that led him to notice something strange in his relationship with Emily. After months of living together, amid so many changes in their lives, Michael had neglected to review his statements for a few months, something rare for him. When he finally decided to return to his financial routine and accessed his account, what he saw nearly made him fall over. Michael discovered that Emily, without his consent, was making significant withdrawals and spending on expensive shopping sprees and designer handbags. The money Michael had worked so hard to save was quickly disappearing. The harsh reality began to take shape in his mind. Maybe love wasn't the only reason Emily was with him. Michael tried to deny it, tried to find justifications, but as the days passed, the situation only got worse. By then, Emily had become so bold that not only was she spending Michael's money without any justification, but she was also becoming increasingly distant and enigmatic. This change in behavior made Michael suspect that there might be another man in her life. After all, the expensive shopping and the quantity of items she ordered home, especially when Michael was away, seemed excessive for one person. There was something strange in the air. With a heavy heart, Michael decided to devise a plan to find out if Emily was indeed seeing another man. Accepting the idea that the woman you live with might be using you for financial gain and possibly cheating on you is a bitter pill to swallow. However, Michael was astute and knew that Emily also had her share of cunning. Therefore, he knew his plan needed to be meticulously thought out, leaving no room for error. To assess Emily's loyalty, Michael devised a meticulous plan. He told her that he would need to travel for 10 days due to a special training for work. I'll miss you, but I know it's important for you, Emily responded. In reality, the training would only last 3 days, and Michael planned to return home on the 4th day without warning, hoping to catch her by surprise. During the training days, he dedicated himself intensely, but deep down, the anxiety about what he might find upon returning home consumed him. On the night of his return, a Thursday, he drove back home, eager to find everything in order. Deep down, he wanted to believe that Emily loved him and wouldn't have the courage to betray him. But as he approached his residence, a scene paralyzed him. Through the window, he saw Emily laughing and sharing a toast with a man he had never seen before. Devastated and trying not to be noticed, Michael parked a little further away and observed, trying to understand what was happening. Tears began to well up in his eyes, and he felt betrayed not only by Emily, but also by himself for not having noticed the signs earlier. His friends had already expressed concerns about Emily, but he had always dismissed them, believing in the purity of his love. Now, the harsh reality was before his eyes. Determined, Michael decided he needed to be sure of the situation before taking any action. For the next 6 days, he became a silent shadow, closely following Emily, observing her every move. What he discovered was even more shocking and painful than he could have imagined. Emily's lover always appeared after 10 p.m., a time when the street was quieter and the neighbors had already retired to their homes. It was as if they had a meticulously planned ritual to avoid suspicion. Emily frequented spas and luxury hotels, and a few minutes after her arrival, the lover would appear at the same location as if they were synchronized. Michael also noticed that Emily had developed a sudden taste for designer handbags. She visited renowned stores, choosing the most expensive and exclusive models, and to Michael's shock, she used his money to buy these extravagant gifts for her lover. With each discovery, a mix of anger and sadness overtook Michael. He felt betrayed not only emotionally but also financially. The woman he believed to be his partner was living a double life, taking advantage of his generosity and trust. Each day of investigation that passed, Michael's feelings for Emily transformed. The deep and unwavering love he felt for her began to turn into deep disgust. Whenever he observed Emily, the feeling of revulsion and rage started to infiltrate his heart, replacing the happy memories they once shared. It was as if a toxic fog enveloped everything he felt for her, making it difficult even to remember the genuine moments they had together. Michael often got lost in his memories, searching for signs that Emily had always had this hidden side before his discovery. Everything seemed like a fairy tale. Perhaps he was so wrapped up in the magic of their love that he couldn't see the nuances and shadows that hid behind that relationship. He thought, how could he have been so naive? How did he miss the small gestures, the subtle changes in her behavior, or those glances she gave, thinking he wouldn't notice? Emily's betrayal wasn't just physical, but also emotional. She had invaded his trust, his heart, and his life in a way he could never have imagined. With each new detail discovered, a part of him shattered. He felt humiliated, betrayed, and above all, deceived. The idea that the woman he loved and planned to build a future with could be so cold and calculating was unbearable. The disgust he felt for Emily was so intense that sometimes he had to step away, take a deep breath, and remind himself to stay calm. He wanted revenge, but he wanted to do it in a way she would never forget, showing her exactly how much she had hurt him. After spending 10 days away from home, Michael returned, maintaining a calm demeanor as if nothing had happened. As he entered, he greeted Emily and comfortably sat on the couch, asking her how her days had been in his absence. Emily, somewhat hesitant, mentioned that she had done some shopping and spent time with her friends Sarah and Kevin. Michael, with a perceptive look, commented, "You know, Emily, David, our neighbor from next door, mentioned that he saw a man he didn't recognize entering here. He was a bit worried. Strange, right? Did you have any of your friends over?" Emily's face turned pale, and her legs seemed to wobble for a moment. She was caught off guard, not knowing what to say. But before she could formulate a response, Michael quickly added, "I told him it was probably a technician or service provider since I was away. Makes sense, right?" Emily quickly replied yes, saying she had to call a plumber to fix the leaking sink. At that moment, Michael discreetly took a deep breath, trying to hide his disgust for the lying woman in front of him. Emily, still in shock and fearing to lose the comfortable life Michael provided her, made an impulsive decision. "Michael, I was thinking, what if we got married?" Michael, without losing his composure, promptly replied, "It seems you are reading my thoughts. We've been living together for months, and it's really time to formalize our love. All these days I was away, I couldn't stop thinking about you and how you made me feel all this time. That's when the idea of us getting married came to my mind." Emily sighed in relief, believing that if he was thinking about marriage, it was because he had no suspicions about her fidelity. But Michael, fully aware of the situation, was devising a much more sophisticated plan than Emily could imagine. Days passed, and as the wedding preparations progressed, Michael made an unexpected surprise for Emily: an unlimited credit card, all chrome with her name engraved in gold letters. "For our wedding, my love, I want you to have the wedding of your dreams. Don't worry about the costs. I have a substantial financial reserve, and any amount you spend, I can cover," he said, handing her the card with a serene and confident look. Emily, with eyes shining with surprise and emotion, accepted the gift. Michael, on his part, reinforced his trust in her, saying, "I'm leaving everything in your hands. I want this day to be as magical as our story." With the card in hand and the freedom to spend without limits, Emily plunged into the preparations. She visited the most exclusive bridal boutiques in the city, trying on various models until she decided on a stunning dress worthy of a magazine cover. It was a unique piece with crystal details and a sumptuous train that shone in the light. The price was astronomical, but with an unlimited card, that wasn't a problem. She also chose the most renowned suppliers, imported flowers to decorate the hall, the most popular band at the moment, and a majestic venue with a panoramic view of the ocean for the ceremony and party. With each luxurious choice, Emily felt like the protagonist of a modern fairy tale, and Michael seemed satisfied to see her so happy, constantly reaffirming that he wanted only the best for their big day. The big day quickly approached. In less than 3 weeks since the proposal, the wedding was about to happen, and Michael had been curiously absent from most of the final preparations. Emily, on the other hand, made sure to invite everyone she knew, from distant family members living in other states to old school friends she had no contact with. They were all there to witness her moment of glory. Michael, contrasting with Emily's extensive guest list, opted for a more intimate celebration, inviting only his work colleagues. When questioned about the absence of family and other acquaintances, he skillfully diverted the subject. Emily, so absorbed in her own world and the sumptuous preparations, hardly noticed the discrepancy and did not give it much importance. As the notes of the wedding march echoed through the majestic venue chosen, all the guests stood up, turning their gazes to the dazzling bride walking down the aisle. Emily was stunning in her impeccable white dress, adorned with the most exquisite jewelry money could buy. However, as she walked towards the altar, she seemed more interested in admiring her own reflection in the venue's ornate mirrors than in meeting Michael's gaze. To Emily, this seemed like the ideal scenario. A husband who would be home only a few months a year, allowing her total freedom to go out with whomever she wanted and spend freely with the unlimited credit card. Michael, on the other hand, awaited her at the altar. His serene and confident demeanor revealed a man who, despite appearances, knew exactly the game he was playing. The ceremony proceeded, and before the expected "I do," the moment for the vows arrived. Emily, with a sweet look and a honeyed voice, began, "Michael, since I met you, my life has changed. You have provided me with moments I never imagined living. With you, I discovered what it is to be truly loved and cared for. I thank you for every gift, every trip, and every moment we spent together. You are the man of my dreams, and I promise to love and respect you every day of my life." Michael listened attentively, his face bearing a forced smile, while inside, a whirlwind of emotions consumed him. With each word from Emily, his stomach churned, and a feeling of nausea overwhelmed him. It was almost unbelievable how Emily could be so cynical, so deceitful, and unscrupulous. The indignation, sadness, and anxiety to reveal his trump card mingled within him. He knew those vows were empty and false, but he managed to keep his composure. When his turn came, he began his declaration, "Emily, from the moment I saw you, I knew my life would never be the same. We have lived incredible moments together, and to celebrate that, I have prepared a surprise for you." He signaled to one of his colleagues, and a screen descended behind the altar. Emily smiled, thinking it would be another of his romantic surprises. The screen lit up, and the first images showed Michael and Emily in happy moments. Laughing in the park, candlelit dinners, memorable trips. The soft soundtrack enveloped the memories, and the guests exchanged looks of admiration, completely absorbed by the romantic atmosphere those images conveyed. However, the music began to fade, giving way to an almost palpable silence. The screen went black for a few seconds, enough for the guests to look at each other confused. Then the following message appeared, "Love can be blind, but the truth has sharp eyes." The phrase appeared in bold letters, causing murmurs of surprise and confusion to start spreading through the place. The tension was almost tangible. Emily cast an apprehensive look at Michael, feeling a chill run down her spine, but he kept his eyes fixed on the screen with an indecipherable expression. Before she could grasp what was happening, photos of her with another man began to be displayed. The images showed the two in Michael's apartment, sharing intimate moments with deep looks and gestures of affection. A subtle and growing murmur began to spread among the guests, while looks of surprise and open mouths revealed the general astonishment. The festive atmosphere that had until then dominated the environment gave way to palpable tension, transforming the celebration into a stage of discomfort and disbelief. Emily, with a pale face and wide eyes, stared at the screen, while the tears in her eyes revealed her embarrassment. Michael, with a firm posture but eyes filled with sadness, began to speak. "I apologize to all the guests for being involved in this situation. I had hoped that when I got married, this would be the happiest day of my life, but unfortunately, the truth had to come out. I thought I had found the love of my life, and for her, I did everything. I tried to provide the best moments, was faithful and loyal to our relationship, but unfortunately, this is what I received in return. When you find someone with whom you want to share your life, reflect before making hasty decisions. Consider the profound impact disloyalty can have on someone's soul. For my part, I will continue my path with the certainty that I acted with integrity, not because she might be worthy, but because I am shaped by unshakable principles and values." Emily, feeling embarrassed and humiliated, ran out of the venue, followed by photographers eager to capture the scandal. The guests, still stunned, also began to leave, leaving the place empty. Michael and his colleagues, on the other hand, chose to stay and enjoy the party that Emily had already financed. He savored the best drinks and dishes, surrounded by his closest colleagues, toasting to the relief of having escaped a trap and to the new beginning that awaited him. The next day, the scandal dominated the main gossip and news websites. Emily, besides having her reputation ruined, also had to deal with the debt of the luxurious wedding she had planned. Michael, for his part, showed no interest in charging any costs, arguing that he was merely recovering the money she had misused in her secret encounters and used to buy gifts for her lover. Dear viewers, thank you for watching. If you like this story, please subscribe to our channel to receive more stories every day. Share with us what you think of this story.